Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see the last part of Parliament, and by this lecture, we are completing this Parliament. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss this parliamentary privileges, and this topic it is very important for both the prelims and as well as mains. So before getting into this topic, let us see some of the introduction regarding this. So first of all, what is this parliamentary privileges? So these parliamentary privileges, they are the special rights, they are the special immunities and exceptions. They are enjoyed by the members of parliament. So these are the special rights, immunities and exceptions which are enjoyed by the members of parliament. So what is the need here? The need here is to maintain the business of the house which is independent and to ensure that there is effectiveness. So to mainly for the independence and effectiveness of the house. So let us see what is this parliamentary privileges. So these are the special rights, immunities and exceptions which are enjoyed by the member of parliament mainly to ensure there is independence and effectiveness of the business of the house. So let us see the scope of this parliamentary privileges, to whom it is applied. It is applicable to the members of parliament, that is members of the Lok Sabha and also the members of the Rajya Sabha. And it also applicable to the Attorney General of India, Attorney General of India. And one important thing regarding the prelims here is it is not applicable to the president. So why not applicable to the president? If you see, president will be the functional part of the parliament, but he is not the member of parliament. So because of this, he is not the member of parliament, yet this parliamentary privileges will not be applicable to the president. So this is the important prelims fact that you should remember. So if you see the types of these parliamentary privileges, there are mainly two types. The first one is collective privileges and the next one is individual privileges. So what is this collective privileges? These are available to the members of the parliament as a whole and individuals for the individual member of the parliament. So let us see what is written in the Lakshmikant. So first let us see the classification of these parliamentary privileges. They are mainly classified into two broad categories. The first one is collective privileges, second one is individual privileges. So if you see these collective privileges, those are mainly enjoyed by each house of the parliament collectively. That is each house of the parliament as a whole. And the next one is individual privileges, mainly those are enjoyed by the members individually. So let us see detailedly what is this collective privileges. So these collective privileges are belonging to each house of the parliament collectively, and let us see one by one. So these may be important for the prelims. So in prelims you may expect these statements that can be asked and you are asked to select the correct statements. So in this regard, let us see one by one in great detail. The first one here is, it has the right to publish its reports, debates and proceedings. So whenever any sitting which is happening in the house, for example, if there is any sitting which is happening in the Lok Sabha or any sitting which is happening in the Rajya Sabha, we are going to see live what is happening in the Lok Sabha TV and what is happening in the Rajya Sabha TV. So in this regard, we see there is open parliament that is seen. Maximum the sittings of the parliament will be open. Sometimes in the rare occasions we can see there are secret sittings that will be happen. So in the case of the open sittings, it is a right of the house mainly to publish the reports, debates and the proceedings which are happened in the house. And in the same way, whenever there are secret sittings that are happening in the house, in this regard, House have the right mainly to prohibit others from the publishing the reports, debates and the proceedings of this House. So this is the first important collective privilege. And the next one is, it can also exclude the strangers from the proceedings and hold the secret sittings to discuss the important matters. So what is this? If at all any sitting which is happening in the House, so the number of visitors also allowed, and also journalists or the media people, they will be allowed. But if at all there are any secret sittings happening, so these people will be excluded. So the next one is, it can exclude the strangers whenever there are some important discussions which are happening in the House. And the next one is, it can make the rules to regulate its own procedure and as well as conduct of the business and to adjudicate upon such matters. It is regarding its own procedure and the conduct of the business. And the next important one is, it can punish the members as well as outsiders for the breach of its privilege and its contempt by reprimand and admonition for the imprisonment as well. So whenever there is any breach of the privilege or the contempt of the House is happened, those members can be punished. So it is the right which is given to the House as a whole, which comes under the collective privilege. And the next one is, it has the right to receive immediate information of arrest, detention, convention and also imprisonment and the release of the member. So if at all any member of that House who is arrested or detained or convicted or imprisoned, then House as a whole will get the information. So every member in the House will know the information regarding that. And the next one is, it can institute the inquiries and order the attendance of the witnesses and send for the relevant papers and the records. So it is also the collective privilege. And the next important one is, the courts are prohibited to inquire into the proceedings of the House. So if you see 99.9% of the cases, here the court will not interfere in the proceedings of the House. But sometimes in the rare cases we can see court will interfere here. For example, this GST bill which is introduced as a money bill, correct, mainly to override the Rajya Sabha. So in this way, in only rare cases the court will be interfere in the proceedings, but unless and until court will not be interfere, court is prohibited regarding the inquire into these proceedings. And the next one is, no person can be arrested, no legal processes can be served within the House without the permission of the presiding officer. So if at all who is a member of the MP who is either convicted in the criminal or the civil case, he cannot be arrested without the permission of this presiding officer. Only they should take the permission of this presiding officer. For example, in the Lok Sabha it is Speaker, in the Rajya Sabha it is Chairman. So whenever the permission is taken from the presiding officer, then only the arrest will be done. So these are some important collective privileges. So now let us see the individual privileges. So these privileges, they mainly belongs to the members individually. The first important one is, they cannot be arrested during the session and also 40 days before the session and 40 days after the session. So it means there is immunity from arrest. These members of the parliament mainly enjoy immunity from arrest during the session, before 40 days of session and after 40 days of this session. So this immunity will be available only to the civil cases but not to the criminal cases. Again, this is an important prelims fact. Okay, the immunity from arrest which is enjoyed by the member of the parliament before 40 days of the session, during the session and after 40 days of the session, but this is only regarding the civil cases but not regarding this criminal cases. And the next one is, they have the freedom of speech in parliament. So we can see there is absolute freedom of the speech in the parliament, but there are some restrictions. Here the member of parliaments are not allowed to speak about the conduct of the judges. So here one restriction is present. Conduct of judges cannot be discussed in the House. But this conduct of the judges can be allowed in one case, whenever there is a bill or the motion which is passed to remove the judges of the High Court. So whenever there is a bill or any other move which is formed, which is passed in the parliament, mainly regarding the removal of the judge, Only in that case there is a content or conduct of the judge can be discussed in the house, but unless and until this conduct of the judge cannot be discussed in the house. So it is about the freedom of the speech in the parliament. And the next one is they are exempted from the jury service. They can refuse to give the evidence, and also they can refuse to appear as a witness in the case pending whenever the parliament is in session. So whenever the parliament is in session, we see this parliament will meet daily. So in this time, this MP will be very busy, such that he cannot give as an evidence or he cannot appear as a witness in any case which is pending in the court whenever this parliament is in session. So these are some individual privileges. So I hope it is clear what are those come under this collective privileges and what are those which comes under this individual privileges. So let us move further. So there are two important words that you should remember here, that is the breach of privilege and the contempt of house. So there is a difference between this breach of privilege and the contempt of house. Though these two words are used interchangeably, so there is a lot of difference between the breach of the privilege and the contempt of house. So let us try to understand what is the difference between these two. First, let us see the breach of privilege. So whenever any individual or any authority which disregards or attacks the privileges. So what are these privileges? These privileges are the special rights, immunities and exceptions which are given to the members of parliament. If any individual or any authority which is taking away these privileges, that is rights and the immunities, then it is termed as a breach of the privilege. And whenever this breach of privileges happened, then that person or that individual will be punishable by the house. So this is about the breach of privilege. So let us see what is this contempt of house. So under this contempt of house, it is any act or any omission that which obstructs the house of the parliament. So whenever we see there is a breach of privilege is happening, it may or may not obstruct the house or obstruct the business of the house. But if you see in this contempt of the house, it will obstruct the house of the parliament. So whenever any member or its officer in the performance of their functions which has a tendency, that is causing directly or indirectly to produce these results against the dignity, authority, honor of the house, then it is treated as a contempt of house. So we can say this breach of privilege which comes under the contempt of house, and this contempt of house have a wider implication than compared to that of this breach of the privilege. So this is the thing that you can remember. It is important regarding the prelims and as well as the mains. Okay. So if you see here, those two phrases, breach of privilege and the contempt of the house, they are used interchangeably, but they have the different implications. If you see, the contempt of house may include this breach of the privilege, and if you see this contempt of the house, it have the wider implications. There may be the contempt of the house without specifically committing this breach of privilege. So this is the important thing that regarding this breach of privilege and the contempt of house. So whenever you see the contempt, you will also come across the other important word, that is contempt of court. So this contempt of court which is in the news because of the Prashant Bhushan case. So if you see this contempt of court which is mainly codified under the Contempt of Court Act of 1971. But if you see this contempt of house, it is not yet codified or not yet comes under any law or any act. So this is the difference between the contempt of house and the contempt of court. And let us see the sources of these privileges, so where it is come from. If you see in our constitution, article 105 which talks about the privileges of the center, and if you are adding 89 to this, it forms 194. This article 194 which talks about the privilege of the state. And if you see, there are mainly 5 sources from where we can see these privileges are present. These 5 sources are very important for the prelims. They include the constitutional provisions, for example article 105 and article 194 and article 105 which talks about the privileges of the center, And the next one is 194, which talks about the privileges of the state. And the other important source here is various laws which are made by the parliament. Next one is rules of both the houses, parliamentary conventions and judicial interpretations. So these are the 5 important sources of the privileges. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture. By this we are concluding today. So by this last part we completed the chapter of the parliament. In the next lecture we are going to start the new chapter. So we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. For the notes you can refer your Lakshmikant.